Babajide, and it's a pleasure to be here. First of all, by no means am I an expert on communications. In fact, I was surprised when they told me to come and speak on this. I said, Samuel, communications, bow. Okay, sorry, I had to say that in my local. Okay. But then I decided, okay, what I'm going to do is to just give you my, I would say, accumulated knowledge from my personal experience. Since I'm speaking about how it deals with personal branding, then I can tell you something about how I have managed mine in the last decade. So my content here is literally from personal point of view. It's not any universal concept. So it's a disclaimer. I'm just putting it out there. Okay. All right. So let's start. I'd like to share my screen. Let's see. So where is that? Okay, here. Okay. Let me know if you can see my slide full screen.
Yes, sir, we can see. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay. So, oops. So today I'll be speaking on building a strong personal brand to access global opportunities. I'm so glad that Hamed is also here. He's my very good friend. There are a lot of friends I have here, and that's amazing. I listened to him speak about storytelling. I almost thought he stole a glance at my slide because there were so many things on my slide. I'm like, oh my good God, this guy has said everything on my slides. And same for Mutsunayo, who did amazing. I like the fact that she came from the very professional side. You could see that. But she focused more on companies, organizations. So here I will be dealing more with persons, individuals, your personal brand. And just as I said, I'll be speaking more from personal perspective and how I have tried to manage mine in the last decade. So let's go. Content, I'll be very fast about this. I've got just 25 and I think I've already spent 5. So first is the you definition, your virtual persona, content creation, deliberate networking, credibility, social capital, and public trust, your digital footprint, they see everything. So let's look at what all these are. I'm sorry I had to go like, you know, an academic person like me tend to always have things in really organized. We try to just put the content and all of that. So bear with me. All right, so the you definition is just talking about you. So who are you? Okay, let me take this off because it's okay. So who are you? What are your strengths and your weaknesses? What are your talents, your gifts? What are your core values, your passion? What do you want the world to know about you? Now, we can't start talking about personal branding if you don't understand you. So the first question is, who are you? You need to define who you are and be clear about it as well. What do you want the world to know about you? The world doesn't need to know everything about you, but the world needs to know something of value about you. A clear understanding of your human capital as well. Your human capital is a combination of your skill, your talent, your intellect, and then your social media profiles must reflect what you represent. I've seen people who say they want to work on their personal brands, but when you go through their profiles everywhere, whether it's on LinkedIn or it's on Facebook or it's on Twitter, their profile is just so weak. There's nothing there, you know, because the first thing I'll check is probably check your profile, know who you are, know what you do. So spend some time to edit your profile, update it from time to time. As you make your little wins, yeah, add them up. Add it in, update, because people are looking, people are checking, the world is watching. So always update your profile, because that would reflect everything about you, especially those things you want the world to know about you. Now, the next thing I'll talk about is your virtual persona. Yes, so what do I mean by this word? Well, I will just summarize to these 5, but there can be more. 1, perception of your knowledge. And this is when you share your knowledge, they know, the depth in there. They know it's not superficial. This guy knows his stuff. This guy knows his onions. Secondly is perception of your relational skill. And this is your interpersonal skills. How do you deal with people on your platform? When someone goes against your view, how respectful are you? When someone is rude, you don't need to give back the same energy. Use the block button, that's fine. Control weed, or use a very sharp cutlass to get off weeds on your platform. If you don't want certain toxic activities on your platform, that is fine. But don't go back and forth with someone exchanging. Nah, don't do that. So the way you relate with people with respect, if someone is being crass, how to gently and peacefully take them out of your platform without noise. They are watching. They are seeing how you man your page. Now, perception of your empathy as well. This is the place where sometimes you need to do giveaways. Giveaway now, freebie now. Once in a while, you could do that when you're celebrating something. You don't have to anyway. But sometimes you could also give free information. You could do a free Zoom class where you give some vital tips that that some people will have to pay for. If someone else, it's something that they should normally pay for, but you can give it for free. And so show some empathy. Show the fact that you understand where people are coming from. You know what the issues are. They are watching, so they see that you're not just sitting high up there and you think everyone else is just below the rung of the ladder. And the next one I want to talk about is perception of your analytical mind. Now, in this case, I mean, when you start engaging some public discourse, general issues, how do you engage them? How analytical is your mind? Critical thinking. They see your responses, they see your posts. And all of this defines your value, who you are, so they can already tell. And this will also let brands take a look at you. They are studying you, organizations are watching you, and they know what you stand for, because it's beyond just the words you type. It's also those non-verbal, non-written stuff that you also stand for, and they can see. And lastly is perception of your comfort. Now, I know that the dollar sign will make people think it's money. Now, it does not necessarily have to be financial, but they just want to see that you are comfortable. You see, someone who is down can't help others that are down. I just need you to know that. So for you to rescue prisoners, you need to be free yourself first. That's where you'll be able to say, guys, I know the way out, because you are free, right? So if you're talking to a number of people, or you are trying to establish your niche on this very virtual space that is so large, the truth of the matter is they need to see that whatever you claim that you're doing is helping yourself, is helping you out. For example, I'll use myself as a good example. My name, the moment you hear it, for those who know me, the first thing that will probably come to your mind is scholarship. It's scholarship, because that's how I have put myself out there. That's the information I want the world to know about me. Anything after that, you probably don't know, and it's deliberate because I did not share. But scholarship, education consulting, that's me in the last decade. And that's the reason why today some organizations would want to do something. They reach out to me. Can you come speak about this? Can you do this? Can you come train our staff? Can you do that and do that? I'm not even reaching out anymore. They reach out themselves. But there's a reason why that is happening. That's because over the years, I have consistently done the same thing. It's like you hitting the same spot, hitting the same spot over and over again. Just as Mutsuraya said, top of the mind, top of the mind. They think about, I need to jackpot, I need a scholarship. Aha, I'll speak to Macaulay. And that's just it. And so another thing is I have won it myself, a total of 10 scholarships in my lifetime. Now, don't be carried away. I have lost a lot more. So I've lost a lot more. In total, I think I've tried about 65 opportunities and I won 10. So you can see that my pass rate is terrible. So averagely, you could say that for every 6 attempts, I actually lose 5 and I win 1. Like, is that even great? But then it's about the storytelling. Like, I can talk about the 10 and not talk about the 65. But at the same time, if I want to be real, I'll tell you 65. So embrace, what's it called? Love letters when they come. Love letters in quotes in the scholarship space means rejections. So when they come, embrace them because we all have gotten them. It's normal. So people see the fact that these scholarships transformed my life. I moved from nothingness to someone of repute today because of scholarships. I moved from nothingness to studying in the best schools in the world, engaging people, that I never thought I'll ever be able to engage. And that's the comfort that they see, and that's the attraction to a great extent. So that's the point I'm trying to make with the 5th point here. So let's now go to content creation. Now, this is extremely important for personal branding. Now, I said it's the soul of branding and communication. Your content is just everything. So you have to be really careful. One is storytelling. I'm very glad I won't say much about this because Hamed has done justice to it already. Storytelling, the tone of communication is also very key. Ahmed has done justice. I'm not going to go deep into that anymore. Then be human. It's not enough for you to just come up like one demigod and just talking. You see, show relatable evidences, experiences, events. For example, I told you that I applied to 65 opportunities and I lost how many? I won only 10. I lost the others. Someone already listening is saying, wow, that means I should not give up. That means he can relate, she can relate that, man, if I have a rejection, it's not the end of the world. And that's exactly, you have to be human, you have to be honest. You don't focus only on your wins, focus also on your failures, because you'll be surprised. That's exactly what will make people, come on board quicker, because they can relate and they know that you are honest. Honesty is a currency. I want you to realize that. Now, craft your signature. I started going by the name MBM. A lot of people know me by MBM to the point that some people even share, okay, now something happened where I put up a post with MBM and it got everywhere, viral to the extent that it got on WhatsApp and somebody broadcasted onto my WhatsApp, my own post. And then it's carried MBM. I'm sure the person didn't know I am the MBM. And that's just the first letter of each of my names. But then it's to tell you how to craft a signature to the extent that sometimes it will have a life of its own. Yeah, it will stand alone as an entity. So be very deliberate about crafting a signature and be very deliberate about what your content should identify with. It's almost like a fingerprint. The moment you see a writing, you can almost tell that it is mine. You can almost tell its signature. Think about it. It's not something you do in one day, but over time, you would know. You would get used to a style, then you stick to it. Then you peg an identity to it, and that automatically becomes your signature. Now, a good blend of professionalism and informality. Don't be too uptight. It's not cool. There's nothing cool about it. Have a good blend of both worlds. Be informal, crack some jokes, flow with some trends that are happening, and then maintain your professionalism as well. The blend is always a best approach in my personal view. Now, clear graphic images, including pictures. You don't want to put up very good written content and the picture is just blurry, like no one can see anything. So be very careful about that. If it is to pay someone to do your graphic work so that it's fantastic, please do so. Error-free content. You don't want to share information with lots of grammatical errors. It just shows that you're not careful enough. It says a lot about your professionalism. Pay attention to words, spellings, what you do. Now, one error is fine. We are humans. One error is fine. One or two, okay, that's fine. But every line, there's an error. Nah, that's really bad. So be very careful about your content. It has to be done very well. And lastly, be consistent and visible. Consistency is the master key of champions. I used to say that every time. Now, if you, like the Bible used to say, I'm a Christian. Now, you can't light a lantern. Let me say it in a very easy way. You can't light a lantern and put it under your table. So if you know that you want to shine, you want the world to know about you, you have to be visible. You have to be out there. You can't hide. You have to be out there. Now, another thing about being visible is it is when you're visible that these brands, these organizations will see what you do and support will come and recognition will come, appointment will come, and every other beautiful things that you deserve because of the excellent work that you do will also come. So you can't hide and say that you deserve these beautiful things. Okay, so let's go to the next one, which is deliberate networking. Now, I did not say networking. I said deliberate because some people think these things just happen. They don't just happen. You have to make them happen. First is that you reach out to like-minded professionals, study those thriving in your sector. If you're in education like myself, I know virtually almost everyone in that sector that are doing very well in that space. I know them. Now, engage other influencers doing well in your space. Is very important. This is because you need to remember that collaboration is more profitable than competition. Let me say that again. Collaboration is more profitable than competition. Even if someone is doing exactly what you do. I have a lot of people who do exactly what I do on LinkedIn. We are friends. We partner. We do more together than fighting each other and trying to top each other. No, there is no point because collaboration is more profitable than competition. And then offer free support where necessary. Again, this speaks to empathy that I mentioned, the third point of persona. And then nurture young professional relationships with care. This particular point, young people these days, they fail this particular one a lot of times. So I'm going to emphasize on it more. They actually do not know how to manage a young professional relationship. Sometimes they hold it too strongly and then they break it, or they hold it too loosely and then it falls and it still breaks. The right balance of nurturing is wisdom. You know when to reach out, you know when to stay away, you know when not to be a pest, you know what to ask, you know how to maximize time when you have that time to communicate with them, because these are busy people. So you need to learn. You also need to learn how to write emails. Very, very important. You need to know how to write emails when you are writing these professionals. You need to know the tone, the language, how to go about it. If you must learn, learn. If you must ask, ask. Ask those ahead of you to tell you what to do or how to go about it. Or else, this is the reason why sometimes someone says, oh, you can reach out to me. I'll be happy to help you. And after the first message to the person, you get no reply. To date, no reply. There's a reason. It might not entirely be your fault, but it could be maybe the approach. So you need to learn how to nurture young. I used young for a reason, because when it's still at its tender stage, that's where you need to be careful. As you guys become very close, it's fine. At that point, you can joke around, you can be more relaxed. But at the beginning, you need to be very professional. Now, credibility is the next one. Okay. And here, I'm going to have to disagree with a lot of popular dictates and notions that some of you already know. I would personally disagree. You can't fake it till you make it. The popular notion is that you should fake it till you make it. For the world of credibility, you can't fake it till you make it, because you will be discovered. You'll be discovered. You can fool some people at a particular time, but you can't fool everyone, at the same time. So you will be discovered, and not everyone is stupid. That's the truth of the matter. Some people will see through you. So just forget about trying to fake anything. Be real. That's the best advice I can ever give you. Stay real. Now, not every publicity is good for your image. In essence, for your personal brand. Some people will tell you any publicity is good publicity. Another public notion that I disagree with. Any publicity is good publicity. Let me probably support that with this real life scenario. Who knows the former, I'm sure many of you here would probably watch football. The former Chelsea defender, Zuma. Zuma kicked a cat, his cat. And for a reason I can't explain, the younger brother filmed it and put it online. And that was the beginning of his problem. He lost all his endorsements with some very big brands. It's a publicity that did not go well. So if anybody told you before now that any publicity is good publicity, is out of context. We need to know what context that is. As far as I'm concerned, not every publicity is good for your image. So you need to groom your image like you groom your hair. You need to groom your image like you groom your face, your looks, everything that is important to you. Credibility is the currency that determines your value in the face of corporate organizations and multinational brands. So the only reason why they come to you and say, be our ambassador, is as a result of so many things associated with your credibility. So truth of the matter, and it also depends on the kind of brand too. So just for, in order to be careful and in order not to harm yourself in the future, just be careful. Ensure that you groom your publicity with care. That's what I would say, because it defines your credibility. Social capital and public trust. Now, for this is the cumulative effect of your virtual persona, credibility, deliberate networking skills. A combination of all three will then result into a huge social capital and public trust, where people trust in what you do. People who have never met you, they trust every single letter that comes out of your mouth. There's a reason for that. You've built your social capital over time. Now, this is the stage you reach in life where opportunities and partnerships begin to find you. I was just doing my thing when the spokesperson for the Ooni of Ife reached out to me on LinkedIn and told me that we've been watching you for 6 months and we love what you do. We want to honor you. And it was a shock, a very big shock to me, because I'm not from Ife. I don't know the king. I don't know. I have no clue how that happened, but it happened. And that's because, one, I was visible, credibility was there. I was consistently doing what I was doing, and they monitored me for 6 months, saw what I was doing, and they knew that we could trust what this guy is doing. So if you work on your virtual persona, credibility, and you deliberately network, because they could also see how I began to engage other stakeholders in my space, it will definitely accumulate into huge social capital that you can make withdrawals from for your future. And your word will become your bond. And when your word becomes your bond, that's when your followers would, they will accept everything you say. It's almost like everything you say is fact, including your opinion. It will become fact. You get to that level. If that's the last, okay, yeah. So the very last two before I stop. Your digital footprint. A lot has been said about this. Just as I said, I felt that Hamed stole a glance, at my slide. I put this slide here because I wanted you to do a little experiment. Google your name. What do you see when you Google your name? I do this almost every time. I Google my full name, and the reason why I do that is just that I want to keep track of where I've been mentioned, my footprint, what are they saying about me, what's going on. And this is so important because some news agencies might share your story, and you need to know who has done that without informing you, by the way, because that has happened to me a lot of times. And I'll be like, oh, they didn't inform me, but this is here. And I'll probably know what's going on. So it's important for you to go through that and track. Why? Because organizations now check. Academic institutions now check. They just Google your name. As a matter of fact, last year, I was in an interview for a particular course, and the panel, one of them was asking me about how I deal with young people. And just before I opened my mouth, another person on the panel just said, oh, I think I saw that you recently won the Carrington Youth Fellowship award. And I was like, yes, I was picked as one of the fellows. I was surprised that he knew, because how did he know that? And I immediately knew he must have Googled my name, because it was on the US missions page. It was also on the Carrington page. And if you Google, you would see all of that. So it was probably because he Googled and did a quick search before I came for the interview. And that helped. It helped me because I didn't have to speak much to convince the panel. And by the way, I got the opportunity. So that's what I'm telling you about, checking yourself out from time to time, just checking what exactly is the world going to see about me when they check. And is this cool? Is it fine? Who has said something about me? If someone is saying something that is wrong, you quickly go and tell them, this is wrong, you need to change it or something. So constantly check. And lastly, they see everything. Now, I put that they in inverted commas for a reason, and that's because you don't know who they, who they depict. You don't know what they is. They could be anyone. It could be anything, anyone, but they're out there, they're watching. They see everything. Now, because they see everything, you need to understand some painful truths right now. Number one is that the internet never forgets. So as you come online and you feel you must say everything that comes to your mind, you probably need to think again, because the internet never forgets. Number two is your social media page feels private, because Facebook will tell you, tell us what's on your mind. You too, you carry phone. You probably need to take a pause, because even though your social media page feels private to you, it is a public space. It is a public space. And lastly, be careful. Now, when you know all this detail, you'll be more careful with, every step you take on the virtual space, because you are going to leave footprints. You're going to leave footprints. You'll be really careful with every step you take. And if you're the type that thinks about your future, you think about 20 years from now, what you need to be doing, and you don't want to sell yourself cheap because you have a big and bright future, bigger than yourself, then you probably be careful about what you do today, because it will haunt you tomorrow. Okay? I'll be ending my discussion here. Thank you for listening, and I would like to have your questions now. So let me stop sharing. Oh, and you can follow me on social media platforms. So on Facebook, it's Milton Babajide Macaulay, LinkedIn, Babajide Milton Macaulay, PhD, Instagram, Macaulay BM.